Welcome to Storytime. I'm Kimberlyn, and we're here with an intention to connect by sharing our stories, our hearts. In sharing our stories, we connect more deeply, more intimately with ourselves and each other. And whether you're here live and in real time or anytime on your time, we're here to practice being together. So when you find yourself in need of some inspiration or guided introspection, that's what I do. That's why I'm here. So whether it's related to your practice on the mat or out in the world, to me, it's all yoga. And by that, I mean it's all part of living and learning. In other words, we are not here to be perfect or perform, but rather to practice. And we're on an adventure together. Yes, just daily life, but also the adventure I call the 7 C's of Inspired Shift. Today, we step into confidence and competence as the logical consequence of what Angela Duckworth defined as grit or diligent practice. We're practicing the 3 primary skills of curiosity, creativity, and courage as we move toward clarity. Today's story is the biggest step, or the story of summer swim lessons. How do you remember summer as a child? The thrill of spending all day at the pool? Do you recall the joy of playing Marco Polo or seeing who could hold their breath the longest, swim a lap the fastest, or flip the most consecutive somersaults underwater? When I was about 6 years old, my mom enrolled me in a swim instruction class at our local pool, Lake Creek Pool in Round Rock, Texas, to be specific. It was just down the street from our home, literally walking distance from our house, even at 6. I visited my old neighborhood just this past spring and got to peek in on the pool, thanks to my friend Gina. I loved to swim and play and be in the water. Mom used to say I was like a fish, and yet she wanted to ensure my swimming competencies were well established. So she enrolled me and my siblings in the Red Cross swim lessons offered at the local pool. This may have also been a way to get us older kids out from underfoot, but it served as a highlight of my summer and even my childhood. I remember 2 stories specifically from the time at Lake Creek Pool. The first was when I passed the entire swim curriculum in one summer. And the second was the heat wave that made it literally too hot to swim. I honestly don't remember which came first, or perhaps they were even the same year. We only lived in Texas for one summer. We're exploring shift and how confidence and competence are key steps towards clarity. I want to talk about that summer swim course, and from what I remember, in all transparency, it could be far from the truth, but I passed the entrance competency test for my age group on the very first day. As such, they essentially gave me private lessons with my instructor for the remainder of the 8-week series. Now, today, that seems highly unlikely, but that's what happened. I breezed through the 6 competency levels over the course of the summer. And by the last week, there was nothing left for my instructor to teach me. Those were his words, not mine. So how did I spend the last few days of summer at the pool? I learned the butterfly. Remember, I was 6. I learned to dive backwards, to flip forward and backward off the diving board, and I was practicing combinations of flips, twists, and dives. I was absolutely loving the pool and my private lessons that allowed me to play and learn to do hard things. I may have even had a bit of a crush on my teacher. But over the course of the summer, I had literally climbed to great heights in terms of my pool skills, just to fall all the way back to earth. Literally, my teacher introduced me to the platform high dive. I'd seen the platform, looked up at it, blinded by the sun overhead. It was positioned directly next to the bouncing diving board that I loved and was learning how to flip from. It shared the same receiving pool, but looking from below was only a recognition that the thing existed. I never even wondered, what would it like to be up there? So, it's Wednesday, the last week of swim school. Because my teacher invited me, I climbed all the way up the 60-foot ladder, walked to the end of the board, and looked down. And that was my mistake. Tears welled up in my eyes, my throat constricted, and my whole body hurt with fear. I didn't take the big step that day. I climbed all the way back down the ladder, which was actually harder than I expected. I even remember thinking, this is worse than the fall into the pool. But by the time my feet touched the pool deck and I'd reached the bottom of the ladder, my tears had dried and I was permitted to dive off the regular board instead. Once in the water, my tears of fear of the platform dissolved into the chlorinated water of the pool. My teacher knew I was afraid, but I don't think he knew just how petrified I felt of the height and the risk of disappointing him. I was invited to try again the next day. Again, I climbed the ladder. I don't remember the climb up. I was entirely focused on not looking down and just moving forward. Again, I found myself standing at the end of the board, my knees rattling. Beyond knees knocking together, my whole body was shaking in fear. I can see the swimmers across the pool grounds, oblivious to my fear. They looked the size of ants. I don't know if my fear of disappointing my teacher was greater than my fear of the fall, but I have a feeling my need to please him is what convinced me to walk off the end of the board. It wasn't graceful. I wasn't brave. I just knew I didn't want to have to go back down the ladder, and I didn't see any other way out of this challenge. I stood on the end of the board, I plugged my nose, and I stepped off. The biggest step of my young life. Splash! I landed in the pool below. Not too uncomfortable of a belly. I made my way to the side of the pool, and as white as a ghost, granted I'm pretty pale already, I told my teacher I never ever wanted to do that again. He congratulated me, chortled a bit, and confirmed I wouldn't have to. In fact, I never climbed that ladder again. One and done. So Friday, the last day of swim lessons and the last day of summer, I was awarded 6 ribbons for completing the entire swim course and told I would do great things as a swimmer. I know how to swim and dive and flip. Additionally, I learned that I absolutely hate any kind of heights, going up or coming down. So the lesson. How does my experience on the platform teach us about confidence and competence and how to navigate inspired shift? The first 7 weeks of summer in the pool built my skill set for swim strokes, breathing techniques, and even performing cool tricks. Having the undivided attention of my teacher created a safe learning environment, ensured that I received timely personal feedback on the execution of my skills, as well as answers to all my questions. Even then, I was a bottomless well of questions. The structure of this program provided a framework for progression, and I was tested informally, frequently, to measure and confirm my acquired competencies. I'd already learned to do what I was told or asked to do, I had already developed a taste for praise from authority, and I had discovered the joy of doing new and hard things in the safety provided by my parents, teachers, and the community systems around me. In other words, my experience at the pool that summer was ripe for building my skills of curiosity. Can I hold my breath without holding my nose? No. Creativity. What if I jump and add a twist? And courage. Diving backwards into the water? What? Yeah, I was curious about what the view was like up there on the platform. Yes, I was even able to access creativity in how I got up and down from the platform. When I ran out of options is when I agreed to step off. And yes, I was courageous enough to climb the ladder both up and down. In fact, you could say that I had all the necessary competencies to succeed, to climb, to jump, to get myself to the water's surface after plunging from 60 feet in the air, and how to swim to the pool's edge. Competencies enhanced through repetition of smaller skills in numerous contexts that built my skills and my sense of confidence in my skills. What I had yet to develop was a sense of choice and personal empowerment. I was only 6. What I didn't have was the confidence that I would be okay, regardless if I jumped or didn't jump. See, I didn't trust my own inner voice. I didn't know that my needs and desires were valid. I didn't know that I could turn down the invitation to jump off the platform high dive and not be a disappointment. To avoid failure, I thought I had to jump. What I didn't know how to do was to say no. Thank you. Or more importantly, I had yet to learn that I could say yes to what I wanted and not just do as I was told. So let's practice building confidence and competence in the things that matter most. Not just the things that we've always done, but the things that matter. By exploring new ideas, new strategies, new shapes, and new patterns, we build curiosity, creativity, and courage. By doing it again and again with attention and ideally guided instruction from a good guide, a teacher, a coach, we improve competency and skills and grow in confidence in our sense of success for survival in using these skills to do, to not do, to undo, and to redo things needing done. I hope sharing this story inspired you as deeply as remembering it has inspired me. I hope that you are at least a little bit curious about your relationship with confidence and competence. What are you good at? How did you get good at it? Do you even like doing it? I share my stories, these stories, to help you live better, to grow in your authentic alignment, and to help you move freely through your tasks of your day. That means I want to hear from you. I want this to be a conversation. So what was your takeaway from today's story? What resonated most with you? Could you relate to my childhood practice of pleasing others, even when it scared me? What challenges or questions came up for you? In other words, how are you shifting? And specifically, how are you practicing compassion in developing curiosity, creativity, and courage to grow your competence and confidence? If living the practices of yoga is brand new to you, take another breath and join me next week in Coach's Chat. We'll get more specific about how to cultivate confidence and competence then. If you have been walking the talk of yoga living for a while, then it's time to see what little shifts you can integrate into your daily life. Don't climb down the ladder. Step off the platform. How are you living? What does compassionate self-care look like for you? What are you getting good at? And does it really matter? When I hear from you, I use your questions and examples to expand and personalize these messages so they support you and others in living well. So reach out. Email me at lifesworkyoga@gmail.com. Find me at Facebook or Instagram. Check out my YouTube channel. Or better yet, download the Inspired app. These are all the ways I'm available to support you in living well. Heck, I invite you to send me a personal message or check out lifesworkyoga.com. Whether you visit us in the studio or online for one-on-one or group experience, I want to meet you in the practice. We offer circles, community practice, trainings and personal treatments in body work, yoga therapy, and life's work coaching, inspired living practices. If you need support in your intentional self-care practice, we can and we want to support you in living your life's work. May you breathe deeply, move freely, labor lovingly, and live vibrantly. May you be well. Namaste. I hope to see you next time as we bring this journey home with connection, the 7th C, as we build clarity through inspired shift. I'll open up the microphone for any contributions, questions, comments, observations, or challenges for those of you who are here in real time.
I had a very similar story growing up. Almost the exact same situation, except I wasn't in swim class. I was just at the pool. I decided I wanted to go up this high dive. I got up there and I just panicked. And my biggest fear of heights is coming down, not going up and being there. That part was not my favorite, but going down a ladder is like the biggest fear of mine. When I was a teenager, they had to call the fire department to get me down because I climbed up too high on the ceiling and there was no ladder to come back down. Oh man, it was the whole thing. But I didn't take the step like you did. I did not try again. I just came back down after a long time and lots of panic.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take that step. I don't ever want to get up on that platform again. I have no desire.
Yeah. You know, that's so interesting though, James, too, because I think that if I had been doing it on my own, I would have done the same. I would never have climbed again. And that's why it is sometimes uncomfortable as the coach, as the teacher trainer, to poke, to push, to invite, while still holding that sense of autonomy and permission to say no thank you. And that's why the permission here at Life's Work is so important in reminding students that take care of you, breathe is all that we ask, so that you can say no, but also know that your no does not have to be any more permanent than your yes. Whether it's the next day, the next year, the next decade, the next lifetime, the yes is for you to claim. And having a coach, having a circle of like-minded, well-intended support people is often what makes the difference in doing those hard things that really help us to grow and shift, to feel confident that we can do hard things and competent enough to tweak those skills to transfer them to other avenues, right? right? Rock climbing, another climb up. I don't want to fall down, right? So it's about the going up, not the coming down. But even in that sense, life itself is often just that sense of the hurdling of, can I climb over this administrative obstacle? Can I climb over this financial burden? Can I climb through or around this obstacle of not knowing how to be in relationship with our children, with our partners, with our parents, because it's all ebbing and flowing. When we look at it from that perspective, shift is inevitable, but are we consciously stepping off into our hard things, through our hard things with support? Are we trying to go it alone, or worse, avoiding something that might just be the ticket to our own adventure of living well? Would you go off of it today?
No. Hell no.
Yeah.
Maybe if I had a better grasp of physics, because my brain tells me that if I jump too far, I'm just going to keep going and miss the pool.
Yeah. Well, you'll need to check in next time, because I have another story that I want to share, and it might be more in line with that sense of not stepping, and I'll leave that as a teaser to come back. Fair enough? All right. Have a great day. Thank you so much for being here, and especially for sharing your stories too. Be well.